Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Monday update, recorded on the 9th of December. Let's have a look at what is going on for the week ahead, and it's sort of repetitive this week. We've got plenty of storms like this one here south of New Zealand, and we've got these bigger high pressure zones that are sort of parallel to the North Island, and they are also part of the weather flow this week as they drag down subtropical winds at times. So we've got a bit of variety. New Zealand's sort of in between these highs and lows this week. There's not necessarily any major severe weather on the way, although we could get brushed by some strong winds and there could be some heavy rain around the west coast and also maybe at the top of the country. We'll explain why it's a maybe in a moment. Let's kick off though with the Tuesday forecast. Look at all the windy westerlies south of the country. Big storm here just off the map, and you've got high pressure up here, fairly weak high pressure actually, just off the western side of the North Island. So between the high and the low, westerly winds dominate, strongest in the lower half of the South Island through Southland, Otago, maybe into South Canterbury, and that wet weather most likely over on the west coast for the southern half of it. May also be a few showers brushing Southland. It doesn't look to be much. And first thing in the morning, might be a couple of showers up to the very top of the country, also clearing away. Going into Wednesday, okay, so now you start to see the repetitive nature of the forecasts. The thing that changes on Wednesday, high pressure shifts from being west of the North Island to east of the North Island, and it merges with a very large system which stretches all the way over to South America. So this is a large high pressure zone. At the same time, storms south of Australia and New Zealand, they are fueling the windy westerlies across Tasmania and the Southern Ocean and brushing New Zealand. Only brushing us. It's not over the top of us directly, but we are getting the edges of it. So it'll be a little windy around Cook Strait, a little windy in the southern part of the country around the mountains, and the wet weather, the showers around the west coast, bit of patchy rain there as well. By Thursday, here is that maybe rain for the top of the North Island. It's maybe because it's on the edge of this big block of high pressure, and then you've got this big storm just south of the South Island. So there's sort of a few moving parts to all of this. The heaviest of the rain looks to be offshore, not actually over land, but that could always move. If the high expands just a little bit, that rain pushes back into us, the high shrinks a wee bit, it goes further out to sea. And then you've got the storm at the other end, driving in more rain over onto the west coast, and those windy nor'westers across the country, which will actually start to lift temperatures back up again around Hawke's Bay. Hawke's Bay's got a slight cooling down this week, which I'm sure you'll be happy to hear. It's not going to be cold, it's still going to be around 23 or 24 degrees, but not quite up to around that 30-degree mark. But the 30-degree mark could come back again by Friday, or at least getting up into the upper 20s. So very big storm south of New Zealand. It covers the entire ocean from Stewart Island down to Antarctica, so that is large. The big high pressure zone out to the east, that is still dragging in subtropical winds for parts of the country. That's why you're going to feel that heat a bit more towards the end of the week. And we're still seeing showers and most of the wet weather in the southern half of the west coast. Only a little bit of showery weather making it over into Southland, but those westerly winds sort of dominate right across this coming week. So there's not a great deal of change really from Monday to Friday when you look at that kind of big picture and what's going on. So this weekend, high pressure remains out to our east. We've got a newly forming low up in the tropics here, worth keeping an eye on. It might turn into a tropical cyclone. If it does, it is at this stage looking very short-lived. It might only be around for a day or so. Doesn't appear to be in the most favourable conditions thanks to that big high just south of it. Worth keeping an eye on though, if you're up in the tropics at the moment. And then further out over towards New Zealand, that high kind of stretches over us a wee bit. Still could be a few showers at the top of the country. We still have rain down around Fiordland and southwestland, and those westerly winds blowing across most parts of the country. And then we finally get to Sunday, and it's another squeeze up again with the isobars. The windy nor'westers return. There'll be gale around Wellington. You'll feel the heat along eastern areas. But this is a cold front coming up the South Island here. It's breaking apart as it runs into the high pressure. So it may not deliver very much in the way of rain, but you might find with that subtropical element that you get some of those heavier afternoon downpours. That is certainly possible around the North Island, but there is a cold front sweeping in, and there is the next high pressure zone just south of Tasmania. So the Southern Ocean at the moment, I feel, is remarkably stormy for this time of the year, and that is continuing what feels like a bit of a spring-like weather pattern, although if you're getting 30 degrees, you may not feel like it's spring. But that is the forecast for the week ahead. Have a great one. We'll see you again tomorrow.